And we are live. Michael, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
How are you feeling?
I'm good. I'm great. How are you?
We have a low bandwidth, so we might be lagging in a few places, but um, so Michael, maybe speak a little bit slowly so we can pick up all the amazing things that you're about to tell us. And let's
Yeah.
get started. So I'd like to welcome everyone back to Pride in the Living Room Jewmos edition. Just a quick refresher, Pride in the Living Room was founded by Israeli LGBT taskforce Agudah in memory of the 2009 Tel Aviv Gay Center shooting and the Jerusalem Pride Parade stabbing in 20. And Agudah created this initiative to offer a platform to LGBT Jews from around the world to share their stories, to encourage empathy and community. And I've been inspired to take this initiative back home to my own organization, Jewmos. And that has led us to this moment where it is my pleasure to welcome Michael to the stage to tell your story. Over to you, Michael.
Yeah. Thank you very much. It's maybe I'll start with sending lots of warm regards and chibukim to my friends in Israel. Um, I really love all the people of the Agudah, and me and my partner Shai were lucky to host the first Pride in Living Room here in Sydney a year ago when we still could get together. So it's really nice to participate now with Jewmos here in the Zoom in our little squares. So my name is Michael or Michael. I'm a Shaliach for the Jewish Agency and the Israeli Scouts. Arrived here in Sydney almost 2 years ago in the end of October 2018. I'm gay. I think not always I could say proudly and with such a big smile on my face. For many years, I think maybe we're lucky today to say gay out loud, and growing up, it wasn't such a good word for me. I grew up in a small town in Israel called Alfei Menashe. It's a small town near Kfar Saba, small community. Everyone knows everyone. You know, my father used to work in the with the school, so everyone knew him. Everyone knew my mother. She works in the she was a nurse, so everyone came to our house asking questions and stuff. And growing up, I always loved, dancing and singing. I was like a typical Glee fan, but Glee was when I was a bit older. I was a big fan of maybe Chiquititas. I don't know if it was a thing in Australia, but like I speak Spanish fluently just by seeing those dancing Argentinian kids on screen every day for like 7 years. And I think the first time I heard the word gay or like ya homo was when I was bullied when I was in like year 5. I didn't understand the meaning back then. It was just a thing. But as I grew older and I started to hear it more and more and more, it became to a realization that being gay is not a good thing. And it's associated with femininity. So if I'm choosing to dance or to sing and to do things that related to things that associated with girls or girly things, I'm gay and it's not a good thing. And I was always afraid to be associated with that. Now, having said that, I was quite popular kid. I wasn't like the most popular kid in class, but I was like this good boy everyone likes and no one hates, maybe, I would say. Don't want to be brag or something. But yeah, I was like, I was all right. But this was this one thing I always heard in the back of my head, like omo, omo, omo. And yeah, I don't know. I used to ignore it, and I really didn't understand what it means. So I didn't really understand what it means growing up. You know, when you start mature, I didn't really understand what it means to be attracted to a woman or to be attracted to a boy. I never understand like what it means when someone said, "Wow, look at those titties," or I don't know, look at this girl, she's so hot. I didn't like. I just cooperated. I don't know. I mean, now, like after a few years, when I was like 20 something, I realized what it means. But I think like until I was like 18, I didn't understand the meaning of attraction. Going few years forward, high school, I think this is when I realized I'm a bit different. And I think this is when I realized I'm looking at boys differently. But yet I didn't understand what it means, because I was convincing myself, I have so many girlfriends, like I didn't date it, but I had like this girlfriend and this girlfriend and this girlfriend, and I kissed this girl, and I was like surrounded by girls, and fell in love, you know, I don't know, like junior high prom. Like I took one of the most beautiful girls in my class, and I was like, sure, we're gonna be together after that, going to high school together. I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna date the most beautiful girl. Yeah, she didn't thought the same. Everyone understood I'm gay without me realizing that. And my best friend were supportive. They just waited, I must say. Yeah, I think when I was in year 11, it was the first time I kissed a girl, and I was like, wow, that's really cool. This is amazing. Like I did it. I'm super straight. I prove it to everyone. I can sing, I can dance, I can perform, I can do whatever I want, and I'm like super straight. I don't need to prove anything, but still looking at boys differently. When I finished high school, I did a gap year. In Israel, it's called Shnat Shirut. It's a year of community service when you delay your army, like your IDF enlistment, in order to volunteer with in like different places in Israel. So I did it with the Tzofim, with the Israeli Scouts. I was a scout since I was in year 5. This is the place who fulfilled my life since I was a child. And this is the place where I developed and grew and gave me the confidence to be who I am. So I went there, and the chance, like, fortunately, they sent me to south of Tel Aviv, surrounded by so many grown-ups who were gay. And I'm like this shy guy, don't understand anything, comes to Tel Aviv for the first time, who already was like the capital of the gay community. I was in shock. Like I was so so out of my comfort zone. On one hand, so curious to understand what it means, but on the other, so don't want people to understand something I don't want them to understand about me, if it makes any sense. There was this guy who was he was like much older than me. He works in the Scouts as well, and he was gay, and he was like trying to, you know, flirt with me, and I was like so embarrassed by the gestures that I just barely came to meet like the groups and the friends. Like I was barely going out with the friends and with the colleagues and everything, just because I didn't want to like be affiliated with being gay or something like that. but this is the year where I learned what is the gay community and how like not intimidated at all they are, and how amazing people they are, and how not um, like I think I can't find the words in English, and maybe I need to apologize that English is not my my first language. I'm doing my best. Like I'm good in English, but sometimes I'm getting stuck when I'm excited, and it's my first time telling this story. So yeah, and another thing is when you're in Shnat Shirut, like this community, you live in a communa. So it's a group of friends that lives together. Well, you don't know those friends. Like the youth movements decide that you're going to be friends, and they give you this apartment, they decide you are friends. And one of them, her name was Mol. She was one of the most talented girls I ever met when we began the year. And suddenly one day she brought a girlfriend, and I was like, oh my God, like she's lesbian? Like, oh my God, I'm going to live with someone who's gay? Like, oh my God. But we became like the best friends. Lots of water stream under the bridge later, but we became the best friends, and I got to know her, and I got like went to parties with her and met her friends, and it was like so good. And it was the first time when I introduced to the gay like party scenes, and I was like in shock, but I didn't do anything, right? I was like totally straight. I dated girls, I kissed girls, I like, but like I was like very, very trying to be seen as a straight guy. But it's very important to say I never had like a serious girlfriend. And this is where my Polish mother started to be very, very, very suspicious. She was like, you're an handsome guy. Like, look at your smile, look at your eyes. How come you don't have a girlfriend? Like, you're very successful, you're very like kind. All the girls wants to be with you. Why you don't have a girlfriend? And I'm like, look, mom, I'm so busy. You know, don't be like a Polish Jewish mother. One day when I'll have time, you'll see, I'll have a girlfriend. You're gonna have grandchildren. No worries. And there was this time when it became really bothering for her. So she came to pick me up from Tel Aviv. She closed the doors of the car and she was like, I want to know now. Have you ever been with a girl? Have you ever had a girlfriend? I want to know. Talk to me. Why are you not talking with me? I want to know. I was like, Mom, why do you think I'm going to lie to you? Why do you think that I'm gay? I kiss girls. I know how to use condoms. Don't worry now. I was like, I'm going to talk so dirty to her because she's Jewish and she's going to be so afraid of my response and being so direct that she will never ask me again. And she didn't. So I succeeded in that. And this is how I like took this burden out of my back. And everything was good. Like, okay, no one in my family suspect anymore. Like everything is good. Now I have to mention that I'm coming from a religious family. So my dad used to be Dati Leumi, so Bnei Akiva wise, where in his first marriage, when he got divorced, he yatsa b'she'ela, and his so my sister from his first marriage is religious, and all my family and my grandparents and my cousins, everyone are religious, and you know how it is in Israel. You're growing up knowing that no one wants gay people, like the Datiim, the Orthodox don't want the gay people to be in Israel. They don't want to give them rights. They don't want them to get married. They don't want them, you know, this is how we grew up. Intimidating. Now, growing up, I grew up knowing that there is 100% coexistence between non-Orthodox or secular people to Orthodox people, right? I didn't know that there is any gap or misunderstanding. For me, coexistence, living together was the truth. I grew up knowing that I can keep Shabbos when I need, and they can understand that sometimes I'll come visit them on Shabbat, and I'll drive there, and I'll park my car 20 minutes walk from their house, and I'll come, and this was the truth. But then suddenly understanding, like growing up and understanding outside of my family, there is this whole conflict was a huge thing. But then understanding that in my, like inside of me, there is this conflict of being gay, and this is gonna bring the conflict into my family was a big issue. And then I should have mentioned it before, but one time, like let's go back a few years. When I was a child, I had long hair. Now I have curly hairs. I don't know, I'm trying. But I had a long hair. And for my bar mitzvah, I decided that I need to cut my hair because it was really ugly. Like, really, like it was really, like, I don't know why I did it. And basically, my grandfather took my parents and told them, he was really religious, and he told my parents, look, I'm sorry to tell you, but if Michael is going to show up to his bar mitzvah with the long hair, I'm not coming. So I'm not coming to the Shabbat. He's not going to look like a girl when he's reading the Torah. And this was another, like, when I was talking about femininity and like being avoided out of it, this was the thing. When I was in year 11, when I was performing and singing, my grandfather was proud of me, but he always was like, why he's not doing like judo or combat or whatever. And it was always a burden, right? And then I enlisted the idea, and everything solved because I was a combat soldier. I served in a really high profile unit, a secret intelligence combat unit. I did amazing. I was only with like guys. No one knew what I'm doing during my service. I was like, nobody asked questions, so I didn't have to answer any questions, right? So it was really easy. And it was really easy to avoid my family about my sexuality, about things I'm doing, what I'm doing on weekends. And I didn't need to give answers to myself as well about my sexuality. Now, it was okay for a year, right? I was like 19 when I enlisted. It was all right for a year. But then when you're in the army, things are very intense. Like my intensive training in the army was with 2 girls, but 18 other men. And they were like, their hormones, I don't know, like I never saw men with so many hormones at one place, like really. This was the only thing they were talking about, and I felt something is wrong with me, like with myself. And I used to come home and like thinking of it, and I like honestly, I never watched porn. I never it's something I never done. It never attracted me. I remember in year 9, someone, sorry if I'm like, tell me if I'm like too much, but in year 9, someone was like, you never masturbated? And I was like, no, like, I'm just, it's not interesting. Like, no, like everything is all right today, right? 20 years later, I'm like, okay. But back then it was like, I remember in the middle of the library, he took a bottle and explained to me what to do. And I was like, shh, stop, what you doing? So I came back home and I was like logging into a blog, because back then, and I'm talking about 2009, like long time ago, so much time. We didn't have apps, we didn't have like iPhones. I had like this little phone, so I log into my computer, we didn't, I think, had like this incognito webbing. So I log into this computer and I log into like this website, and I was like, blogs, and suddenly I log into this forum, and suddenly I saw this picture of guys, and I was like, interesting. Okay, maybe I'll look it up, because like, yeah, it's interesting. And then I went into this forum, and then into this, I really remember this night, and I log into this video chat and blah, blah, blah. And then suddenly I'm finding myself talking with someone, and it was like, it was like magic. I'm talking with someone and he's telling me the same story as I am. And it was like incredible. Like suddenly I'm not alone. Like suddenly there are other people who experience the same. They're not sure about their sexuality. They're not sure if they can, like, they're attracted, if like they have feeling for other women, but when they look at the guys in the showers, in the army, something is happening. Or when they're talking with other guys, or when they're watching like porn or something, like they're looking at the other side. I don't know, something, there is a magic. And I found myself like going out for nightly from the army and spending most of the weekends, like the nights, texting and, you know, chatting and blah, blah, blah. And there was this one guy, his name was Gal. Okay, and we had really good time. And after like 6 months, I think, maybe 8 months, he was with his girlfriend. I was like, you know what, Gal, we need to meet. Like, khalas, kilo. It's been 8 months that we are talking. Like, I know how you look, you know how I look. Let's meet. I mean, we don't need to do anything. I mean, I see ourselves as friends. Like, we're talking almost every 2 weeks. Like, we don't have each other numbers, but, you know, what can go wrong? Let's go have a coffee. Or, you know, we're Israeli. Let's go to one of the forest or whatever near our house and drink cafe shachor, like black coffee. And I don't know, with our sandals and hear Ehud Banai. And he was like, you know what, let's do it. So we did. And after like 10 minutes, we started to kissing. And it was like, fuck, what just happened? Now I'm looking to, like, you know, I have like this, I don't know if I can I call it a beard? I don't know. It's like some hair on my face, but back then when I was 19, I didn't have anything. Like even when I tried, I was really smooth. And he was so like hairy and with this beard, and I was like, oh my God, men face, like hair face is so weird, but it feels so good. I don't know. And then 3 people walked on us. And I was like, shit. And one thing led to another, and we did some other stuff, and it was crazy. And I was like, whoa, what's going on here? And we finished it up in like 5 minutes. It looks like we've been there like ages, but the whole thing with the coffee, with the talk, with the kiss, with the na-na-na, not such a great metzia, happened like 25 minutes, yeah? I was so nervous. It was in the middle of the forest. I had like this small car. I went into the car, drove as fast as I could, shock, like in complete shock that I just kissed the guy. And it was like so weird. And I wasn't sure it was so good, you know? I wasn't sure this is what I wanted it to feel. Like, okay, good experience, yes. Good experience I want to do again, not so sure. And I drove really fast and I was in a hurry because me and my friend had to do a poike like 2 hours later. And I'm driving and I hit, it's just a good story, it's irrelevant to everything. I hit the car and a stone broke some part in my car and the oil started to leak. And the car stopped in the middle of the road to my town. And I just stopped in the middle of the road. and it was too late, and all my friends are already going out of my town to the poike and see me. And I was like, why are you on the way back to your home and not outside? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm like lying, and it was the first time I was lying. I'm meeting with a guy, right? Lying, and every car, and I'm lying, and I'm lying, and I'm lying. And my parents suddenly like, and I don't have a phone because my battery ran out. So I'm like, call my parents, tell them to come. It was really humiliating. And this day I decided I'm never gonna see guys anymore. Like never. Like it just doesn't worth it. Like why? Why should I? It doesn't worth it. And I stopped. I stopped the videos. I stopped the chatting. I stopped talking with Gal, which was amazing. But he also got afraid, like what his girlfriend gonna say, whatever. And after a year where I developed good relationship and good friendship with guys in the army, because it was the first time that I had, like the army was the first time I had really good, except of my hometown friends, good like male friends, you know, and not just girlfriends. Yeah, after a year, I started it again. Like I was curious. I was like, it was a good experience. Like, do it again. So I logged again, and then it was Atraf already. So I logged into Atraf and I opened a profile, and I was like, you know, without a picture, and I was like super secretly and blah 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 blah. And but I didn't do anything. I was just chatting until I finished the army, and then I did some, you know, hide and seek with my parents for a while, until I understood, khalas, you can't do it anymore. You need to understand with yourself what you are, like what you want, what you need, what. And I was already like 23 when I finished the army, and I think like going a few years later, I started working at Sofim in the Israeli Scouts in Israel, and I was like ish chinuch, an educator, and talking about sexuality with like high school students, and talking about bullying and things like that was always something that I was in my first year was trying to avoid, because I felt this is something I can't talk if I'm not confident what I feel about myself. And like I will talk about it later because it influenced the entire perspective of myself as educator. But on the second year, I was 24, meeting with my friends. Suddenly, I'm getting like a poke on Facebook. Now we're talking about like, I don't know, 2013, maybe? Somebody poked me on Facebook. Like, who's poking, right? It's such a, I mean, no one does it. And it was from a girl, and I was like, why did you poke me? And she was like, because you're cute. I'm like, oh, I'm cute. Oh, you too. So I'm like, oh, we have mutual friends, and she was like super cute, and she was nice. And then I'm like asking my friend, and she's like, oh, she's really cute. She studied in my class on a high school. You should try to speak with her. And it's a good chance if she's flirting with you, maybe she's a good option to be your girlfriend. And I was like, oh, a girlfriend, that's a good checkout. Okay, so I was like, amazing. I might get a girlfriend. I'm like 23 already. It's a good opportunity to have a girlfriend and prove the world that I'm not gay, or prove myself I'm not gay, or prove myself I am gay. I don't know. Anyway, we were started to date. First date was amazing. We were completely different, right? I'm working in a youth movement, just released from the army. My hobbies are hiking in Israel, jumping into springs in underwear, doing cafe shachor, like black coffee everywhere I can, listen to Israeli music. I don't know. this is what I'm doing on weekend. And she's like studying in Be'er Sheva, computer science, really like coming for a fancy family, doing shopping all day, listening to like pop artists, like completely like two different worlds. But I was like, we're gonna make it work. We're gonna make it work. Eventually we didn't. After like 6 months or like 4 months, 5 months, it didn't work. Like we just always went apart. But there I realized I'm gay, like 100% gay. I just need the courage to come out. And there I understand that my problem is not my confidence and not being honest, because I'm really confident in myself and I'm really honest guy and I'm really like, and I think it wasn't about loving myself. It was about loving my family and taking care of my family. It was about respecting my family and respecting my grandparents. And I decided that I can come out if I feel that it will be disrespectful for my grandparents, which are religious and are old and not in their great health status. And I decided to wait. So I just enjoyed, hookups, dating, I had some short relationships, which I felt are the biggest loves of my lives. Now we're gonna escape to Barcelona and live our life there. And then it ends after 2 weeks or something. And I waited and I waited and I waited, but it's very hard to say, eh? But and I don't know, my dad one time said, I hope my son would never be gay when we were TV, and I was like starting to be really nervous, and it's very, 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 very hard to say, but my grandparents did not die, like, and I was waiting because I really wanted to go out of the closet. Like, how would I do it if they don't? Like, it's really hard to say. And suddenly, one day, I decided that it doesn't matter. And it happened when two things happened. First, I was going to a reserve duty, and I hope you will never see it, but there was this cute soldier over there, and I can't say we were dating, but we had this short relationship, and with the fact we had to hide it, I understood how I hate hiding my life from my family. So I decided that's it. And the other thing was me being an educator and the fact that I can't be honest with the kids I'm educating. So it was Shabbat. I waited Shabbat to end. It was The Amazing Grace on TV, and it was the one TV show my family used to watch together, okay? And my little brother used to watch with us and go to his room. So I was waiting for him to go to his room and my parents to sit. On the day before, I was like talking with my two best friends who already knew. And you need to understand, live in a small community, you're really afraid. Like, my fear was that someone will tell my parents before I'm telling them, right? Because this is the most disrespectful thing can happen. Like, I'm such a good friend with my parents, I didn't want it to happen. So that was my fear. So I barely told my friends, but my best friend knew. So I was like packing a bag because I remember my father said that if my son will be gay, blah, blah. It was quiet. I stand in front of the television and I was like, I'm gay. And my parents was like, no, I think it wasn't. I was like, I need to tell you something. I'm gay. And my parents was like quiet. And my father was like, okay, we love you. I was like, don't you hate me? And I'm like, no. And my mother was like, maybe you need to consult with someone before you make a decision. And I explained to her what it means to make a decision. Like, the decision is to be straight, like to decide that I'm straight. But my nature is to be gay. This is who I am. Like, I can't control it. This is who I'm attracted to. And it was hard on her. And then I was like, and like my dad hugged me and everything. And I was like, do you want me to go out for the night? Like, do you need time? And they're watching TV, yeah? They're ignoring me half of the time. And I was like, do you want me to go out? Like, I can go, I can sleep at her place. And they were like, no, you can go take out the trash, but you're staying here tonight. And they hugged me and it was really nice. My mom avoided me for like 3 days. It was hard on her, not the fact that I'm gay, the fact that I didn't tell her. Like, she remembered this conversation in the car when I shouted at her that I know how to use condoms and blah, 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 blah. And I was dishonest. This was hard for her. Like, she didn't understand why I lied. And I understood it. It took her time to realize that being gay doesn't mean that now I'm an outcast from the society, that no one gonna fire me, that no one gonna release me from reserve duty in the army, that it doesn't mean that I'm gonna dance naked on the gay parade in Tel Aviv, that it doesn't mean that I'm like doing orgies all day and taking mollies for breakfast, because this is what she thought. And it took time to process it. But she's now like the best supporter. Really being an educator. And then I told the rest of the family, like my father, my sister, my brother, my big religious family, everyone like understand, accept me, hugged me. They really love me. I told them like a few years later when I met Shai, my incredible partner, which I kept him as a secret till now because it's like the sweetest part of being gay and in a relationship, which is him. I wish he was here so I could show you how cute he is. But they like him better, like much more than they like me, I think sometimes. And yeah, my mom makes like cakes and cookies for his birthday more than she makes for mine. And like meeting him was, I think, one of the milestones for her, because when she saw that I can have like a partner which is serious, and she saw that I can be in like a relationship which is serious, which is normative, and maybe like and she can see a future for me. I think she felt comfortable and relaxed, and it helped her. So as being an educator, sorry, it's funny, Jared, because you told me that I told you that I would never, like, I don't know what to say, but I'm not stopping talking. So I'm like, it was a really dilemma for me. I decided not to tell my kids in the Tzofim that I'm gay. I decided that it's my private life and I don't want to tell them. And the reason is because I didn't have any cultural life as a gay person. I didn't have any gay friends. I grew up without any gay idols. I didn't have any gay influencer at all. And I didn't feel that I can be one. I decided that if someone will ask me, I'll be honest and I'll say, yeah, I'm gay. Like, okay. But no one asked because, I don't know, they just didn't. But in the end of the year, one of them came to me, which is very like hetero and very like manly, and he's like super. And he came to me and he said, you know, you really disappointed me because you're such an influencer for us. But the one thing you could be honest with us and influence others while more we can is just to tell the truth about yourself. Like you talked about femininity and gender and equality all year long, but you didn't mention you're gay. This one thing could change so many lives. So you're a bit, like, I still love you, but a bit, you disappointed me a bit, and this like crushed me. And it really was another milestone for me, both as a gay person and as an educator. On the same time, I met my first gay friends, Ilan and Elad, and it was on IDC, and I started being more involved, and I went them to parties, and like, you know, when you start dating and you're like out of the closet and you don't feel free to go out and be out there and do whatever, you start to have like a small community and surrounding and like going out. And so I started to have like small friends, and this is where Ilan came to me, and I told him that, and he was like, join IGY, the Israeli Gay Youth. You have to, like, you're just finishing with the Tzofim for a few years, come volunteer. And this is how I fell in love with the revolution, like being gay, which identifies gay and see gay as part of his identity and proud of it. Not because because this is what makes me a person, and this is what defines the way I see other people, and this is how I see the world. Like, this is one of the values that I want to distribute to the world. So I was passing those messages and this story and everything to my kids. There wasn't kids. I was a madrich for youth, like young adults, age 18 to 23. And we marched in the gay parades, and we did the protests in 2018 together. And we, like, it's a different story. So I'm like, we can talk about it for another hour. But I think this was the beginning for me for a new decade of what it means to be gay, which I kept a bit on hold coming here to Australia for a shlichut. Like, it's always on my mind, and luckily I met such an inspirational and amazing gay people from the Jewish community, both in Sydney and in Melbourne. But it's not as being in IGY and in the Agudah in Israel and fight for the rights of the gay community in Israel, which is important. But I always, like, I think this is what inspires me, to see that Jewish people understand that equality is supposed to be one of our main values that we promote as a community. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to continue from here, Jared, but I'm like super, unless I'm gonna get super emotional. And yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you, Michael, for taking the time to be here with us for Pride in the Living Room, Jewmos edition. And this is your second time, because you, as you said, you were a part of the very first, the pilot, if you will, to see if the concept would actually work. And thanks to the success, we have all these years later, these stories from all around the world popping up. So thank you again for sharing your story.
Pleasure.
I know you have to go, but I have one question, if that's okay.
Yeah.
So, you know, I was madly writing things down while you were speaking, and I have so many questions to ask you about your incredible, inspirational story. But I'd like to go all the way back to something you said at the beginning, when you were talking about this experience you had in South Tel Aviv, really this moment of identification and discovery, and, you know, going, whoa, there's, you know, this thing that's inside of me, this thing that I'm living with, but it's me. There's actually other people out there who know what this is like, who I can engage with. So as my question to you, if you could meet with the Michael in that moment, with everything you've gained, all the wisdom you have today, what would you say to him?
100%. If I had the opportunity, no, I don't know. First of all, I'm not sorry for anything. Okay, like this is my childhood and this is how I lived it. Okay, I always say I wish I was gay earlier, and I wish I was confident, and I wish I was a child or a youth, a teenager nowadays when it's much more easier. And if, like, to answer your question, I would go and tell him, go live the world, go sit go to the Avita and go to the Drek and do whatever you want and experience the world. This is the life, like, you know, this is what you need, and don't wait any longer. But I'm not sorry, because like the road led me to the person who I am, and I think part of this identity that I created myself and the complex of who I am today is thanks to those milestones and the complexity and the challenges that I experienced. Because I don't know, also facing and it's not a good thing, but facing being gay or not being gay, and debating that, and like coming out of the closet or not coming out, and is my sexuality okay or not, it was a huge step for me. So yeah, I'm not sorry for it. Just I wish I had some more time to play around before I met Shai, you know.
It's a shame we don't get to meet Shai.
Yeah,
it's so beautiful to hear how you're speaking about Shai with such a smile on your face, and that's really touching. So thank you.
Thank you very much, and yeah, share your stories, share the love, and always believe in yourself.
That's a beautiful way for us to finish our time together. I would like to thank you again, Michael, for taking the time to be with us. And here's to sharing our stories today and many more times in the future.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Okay.